Kirasuro Kohai Naka! And today I want to talk about the anime Onimai, I'm Now Your Sister. This anime was sort of a sleeper hit from the last season, though it received much positive acclaim for its art, animation, and humor. Honestly, I was shocked at how great this anime was, especially coming out of a studio that only had one other credit. So why am I talking about Onimai? Well, while this anime was positively reviewed in Japan, English-speaking outlets hit it with immediate controversy, heavily criticizing its premise and some of its themes. With many reviews from Western critics being negatively charged, general consensus of Onimai was left mixed. Well, I'm here to tell you that those critics are wrong about this anime. But before I get into that, here's a brief synopsis in case you missed it. Boy is otaku. He wake up girl. Science sister turn him girl. She want him social. He want stay neat. She force him go out. He must be girl. Is that Guilty Gear? All caught up? Cool, because there might be some minor spoilers. I'd also like to preface these opinions to call them what they are. Opinions, obviously. Second, I need to address that due to the nature of some of the criticism this anime faced, I will be covering some controversial topics, meaning that some of my viewpoints will in turn be controversial. I've been wanting to make this video for quite some time now, and a big reason why I put it off for so long is because I'm not always one to dive into controversy on my channel. However, I felt compelled to share my piece on this anime after watching and loving it, only to read these harsh critiques. There's no such thing as a perfect perception of something, and it's never good to regard anyone's opinions on a piece of media as unimpeachable. This is meant to be an open discussion on the anime, so I implore you to keep an open mind while continuing with this video, and be aware that while I may state some things that might upset some of you watching, it's never my intention to step on anyone's toes. Now with all that said, let's get into why these critics are wrong. Argument number 1, this isn't a trans anime. I recognize that this is probably my most controversial viewpoint regarding perhaps the biggest controversy of the anime, but this aspect needs to be addressed first and foremost. A huge focal point when it came to Western reviews was the perceived transgender themes throughout the anime, and yeah, I'm not blind, I see them too. There's transgender iconography. She has trans colors in her hair. The main character is male to female. However, the anime does not depict typical transgenderism as we see it in our reality. The main character just wakes up one day and suddenly they're the opposite gender in every physical aspect. You don't have to have a degree in gender studies to know that's not how transitioning works. Instead, this theme is more of a trope that has existed in anime for years now. Ranma 1/2, Comp Fur, Heaven's Lost Property, Magical Girl Lore, freaking Naruto. This is a trope known as gender bending, or as my anime list likes to call it, magical sex shift. I'm not even making this up. I've never heard this term before now. This is a trope purely existing in fiction that has a character suddenly transitioning from one gender to another in appearance alone, by or against the character's will. This is far from the real lengths that people must go through in order to transition. The main character becoming a girl via an experiment by their little sister isn't an extensive operation, nor is it an introspective epiphany. In the season finale, the main character is given the choice to turn back into a boy if they wanted to. Only then do they make the decision of remaining female. This is after a lot of character growth and soul searching throughout the series. As much as I'm sure many of us would love a magic trick like this to actually exist, the simple truth is that this is merely fantasy. In reality, transitioning is a much more complicated process, and it's nearly impossible to go back once someone transitions. Viewing Onimai realistically and under its intended theme leaves many of the negative points Western critics brought up to be completely moot. I understand that a lot of the criticisms about this one particular aspect of the series came from critics who they themselves are trans or at least an ally, and that this theme just resonated with them the wrong way. But if you judge the whole of a piece of media on one aspect that you misconstrued based on personal experiences and beliefs, you're not really giving it a fair chance. Argument number 2, this isn't a perverse anime. This is the second biggest criticism that I saw from Western reviewers, that it's incestuous lolicon bait, over-sexualizing the newly found young female form of the protagonist. While I do see some of the problematic points that critics bring up, they're all far over-exaggerated, especially when looking at other anime. Let's get the incest stuff out of the way. There wasn't a single point in this anime where I went, oh yeah, these siblings are gonna get it on by the end of this show, yeehaw! Mihari's obsession with her brother doesn't appear to be romantic in the slightest. More so, it seems to be genuine compassion and care for her sibling. Mahito was once someone his sister looked up to. reduced to a shut-in with no intentions of socializing. The effort and care Mihari shows throughout the series is probably the furthest thing from what I would call a love interest. In fact, Mahiro seems to desire women of other qualities. So when critics like Cy Catwell constantly bring up that the anime features overt sibling flirtation, it makes me question whether or not they know what subtext is. The character's age is another huge notion towards negative criticisms, and I would agree that when an anime is centric on borderline child diddling, it's disturbing and incredibly problematic. However, that is not the case with Onimai. Not once in the series is an adult seen acting with lewd intentions towards a minor. In fact, the majority of lewd behavior seen in the series is the main character's own attraction to women with large chests. And even that is utilized very lightly. A lot of ideas that critics bring up are really misinterpretations of character actions throughout the series, like how TMI the sister gets sometimes, how the main character looks at themselves, or when a bit focuses on a private matter such as toilet time. But all these aspects are explained away by knowing that the intention of this anime is to simply show the audience Mahiro's plight through a humorous lens. This is a comedy through and through, so if some of the scenarios make you feel uncomfortable, then you probably need to develop a sense of humor. Critics also want potential viewers to be extremely aware that there are some unconventional camera angles. As if that is a completely new concept to anime. While the problematic points critics are bringing up are also in regards to the main character's youthful appearance, these shots show up far less than what critics would lead you to believe. Calling this anime lolicon pandering is a total disservice to what this anime is actually like. Onimai lends focus to aspects of gender bending in a realistic way, having the MC bewildered at first, only to grow accustomed to their new body over time. The anime is not trying to showcase how hot it'd be to defile a prepubescent looking body, as Caitlin Moore likes to think. It's not trying to sexualize the youth, as Nicholas Dupree attempts to argue. To put it bluntly, this ain't no Kodomo no Jikan. Reading these criticisms honestly shock me. Like, there's a perfectly endowed woman in the show who's way more sexualized than Mahiro, yet these critics fail to look beyond their own fascination with how the main character chooses to pee. Some say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I say lewdness is in the mind of the lecherous. I wonder what their opinions are of my dress up. Oh my god, they're all hypocrites. Onimai is an incredibly cute and funny anime. It's wholesome, fun, and overall an enjoyable story. I feel like a lot of the critics who panned this show took the wrong aspects way too seriously and blew up on it from their preconceived notions. However, a lot of these aspects are satirical in nature, and I doubt we're ever meant to be taken the way they did in the West. But if there's one thing we can take away from Onimai, it's that we should all make a conscious effort into expanding our horizons and opening ourselves up to other individuals, activities, and introspections we may not have ever thought of accepting into our lives. Take a chance to step out of your room, leaving your lecherous gaze behind, and experience your surroundings humanely, without segmented cynicism. There was so much more good in this series than critics let off with, like how the sibling bond drove a positive narrative forward, something a lot of anime seem to miss. Mahiro's gender crisis and the realistic nature of their actions. Arc system works? Heck yeah! I love this series so much, and I highly recommend not being dismayed by some of the negative reviews it received. What did you think of Onimai? Let me know down in the comments below. Leave a like, it helps me grow. Subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Have a good day! Bye bye!